She's
Kill the bottle.
19.
What? And? What does that have to do with it?
You want a 19-year-old sugar mama?
Yeah, you're doing well, yeah?
I ain't giving you the money. It ain't for you. Ooh.
Wait, but so
It ain't
what?
for you.
I'm just curious. What's the objection? Is it just because like she's 19, so she doesn't have money? Is that the objection, or she's too young for me specifically?
Yeah, like how old are you? Ooh.
35.
Yeah, she's like pretty young.
What?
Oh.
Wait, just to be
Well,
clear.
I mean,
wait.
but what if somebody was paying her to sleep with him? Would you have an objection to that?
Well, it's
mean,
like private.
I know. I didn't say anything
I
about
think
sex.
to each their own.
I know,
first
but,
off,
Yeah.
but I'm bringing it up because I want to know. Would you object to the chick who does corn next to you if she was getting paid to sleep with a 35-year-old versus date him?
I think that that's a moral dilemma.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm asking the question. It's a moral dilemma, yeah. In order to be consistent, you either have to say yes in both cases or no in both cases, right?
Well, that's fair. I think that it's a moral dilemma, and I think that in
so which
certain
way would
ways,
you side on this moral dilemma?
I would probably say that to each their own, but maybe I don't think that it's right either way.
So you object to both?
Low key, yeah. High key, yeah. But not necessarily. Like I think
Wait, what?
I
What?
object. I object to both.
Low key.
I
high key.
object to both,
What is this?
but at
right
the
key,
same
left key? I don't
time,
get those
mid
Zoomer
key.
language.
I object to both, but at the same time, I
Clever
don't
girl.
object to both because I believe in free will and that people are free to do as they please, and I actually won't judge someone for doing that. And maybe more likely if it's a 35-year-old man.
Well, hold on, just to be clear. So I said nothing about sex at all. Simply sugar daddy. So she would just pay me money, and she would get nothing in return, essentially. That's what women do. In any case, so you have an issue.
Is that a moral dilemma?
What does that mean?
Nah, she wants to give him money. That's cool.
But you said people have free will and they can do what they want, but not. Let's say she wanted to date a 35-year-old. Doesn't even have to be me. Could be somebody else, right? If she wanted to date a 35-year-old, would you object to her wanting to date the 35-year-old or to the 35-year-old wanting to date her?
To the 35-year-old wanting to date her.
Okay.
It gives you the ick, doesn't it?
No, because it just shows their maturity is low. Like, why would you want to date a teenager at 35? That makes no sense. Like,
You mean an adult?
I think that I say the latter because a 35-year-old man has more experience than a 19-year-old girl.
So does
Whereas-
a 25-year-old man.
Huh?
So does a 25-year-old man.
Right, but like more than 10 years is like quite a bit.
Have you ever dated a man who you had a 10-year gap with, have you? See, I want to tell you this trend that I've noticed. Right? I used to think that all of the women who said, I have zero moral argument to this whatsoever and people should be allowed to do what they want, but I just think it's icky. I used to think that they were just dumb. And I'd be like, you got to just be dumb to believe that because you have no moral argument against it at all. So why do you believe? But then I figured this out after talking to so many of them. All of the ones who go, it gives me the ick, they've all been in an age gap relationship.
Wait, did I say it gave me
Didn't
the ick?
say? Yeah, you did kind of say it gave you the ick. What other objection could you have?
No, it's not that it gives me the ick. It's that I think that there's a gap in knowledge and
So,
experience.
There's a gap in knowledge and experience with people your own age. You can date somebody your own age, exactly your age, and they could be 10 times more sophisticated than you and dumber than the 35-year-old down the street.
Right. But in that situation, it puts young girls at risk to be put in really negative, life-altering situations
Really?
that, as a man, you put that younger woman in that position.
What
And
position would this be?
a position that maybe she was too naive to know she was getting herself into.
Yeah, but she could be in that position no matter what.
Right. But
Why would age?
especially more
why is-
likely when
Why is age the factor?
Because of experience.
Okay. In the UK, there's a department of statistics. They took all of the relationships ever, all of the marriages on record ever that they have. They wanted to see if the age gap relationships failed as much as the similar age relationships. They don't. They don't fail at any higher rate. They said there's no statistical anomaly between the two. How could that be if the sophistication is such that these men who are older, and they were talking 20 years in some of these gaps, can you explain why it is that those relationships wouldn't fail any more than similar age relationships?
So I don't want you to misinterpret me here because I'm not anti-age gap relationships. But I'm just saying that it puts you more in, I think especially in America specifically, it's different because of the culture. And it puts younger women at more of a risk to be in situations that might leave them
The risk
traumatized.
part I don't get. I don't understand. Why would it be a higher risk than dating somebody who's going and getting at 22? Right? Why, what is this risk issue?
May I ask a question?
It's because
Sorry.
it's this certain type of man who is 35 and has a relationship with a 19-year-old girl.
Who clearly has no agency, by the way.
It's no, definitely women do have agency, but
And what
especially
age?
young women, they have agency, but their lack of knowledge translates into a lack of wisdom. And often those women are a bit more naive because of, like I said, their lack of experience. Also, as a 35-year-old
Yeah.
man, when you can't obtain a relationship within your age dating pool and you go for someone who's younger, maybe based on attractiveness, or maybe you guys do have certain things that similarities. At the same time, maybe you're less. I find that men who are older who go for women who are younger are less likely to actually be able to sustain a relationship with women in their age group. And I think that goes for a certain level of manipulation,
But
but
let's
that's not
back-
always
wait,
the
let me-
case because
let me-
I
Well,
don't
let me back
believe
up
in
to
generalizing.
the initial point. I just want to make sure that I heard you correctly, right? You have no objection to an age gap relationship.
No, I'm not. There's nuances, but I'm not objected. I've been in an age gap relationship.
What was
Knew
the,
it. Knew it.
what was
hang
the-
on. So I was right.
But that's
You
why
were
I'm
in an
saying
age gap relationship.
But
so
that's why I'm saying
yeah.
this
So you're
as
projecting.
well.
You're projecting, right?
No, I'm speaking from
Was
my
it a good or a bad
experience.
experience? Bad experience, right? Go ahead.
No, it was a good experience
Uh-huh.
until it was a bad experience.
Right. So it was a bad experience.
Wait, I have so many questions here.
Every single time. By the way, I just want to point this out that I did call that, right?
Yeah, but I'm speaking from experience.
I'm sure you are. Go ahead.
Hey, can you guys be quiet back there? Guys, we're in the middle of a show. Okay, so I'm a little. You said you had an age gap relationship.
Yeah,
What was the gap?
It was over 10 years.
it wasn't over 10
Here, tell us the gap.
years.
Just tell us the gap.
It was 9 years.
Okay, how old were you? How old was the guy?
I was 21 and the guy was 29, and then he turned 30 and I turned 22 shortly after.
Okay. So, you said that. Oh man, it slipped my mind. Okay.
So based on this negative experience, right, that you had with this guy, you're not in any way projecting that other people don't have similar experiences to that in an age gap relationship?
No, I think that I think that those relationships could work. And this was actually the relationship that the exclusive relationship I was in for 4 months at the beginning of this year that I wanted to work, but I just found
So you wanted
that,
there to be more,
right.
and he said, what did he say again?
No, he didn't say no. It's complicated
How does he not say no?
because he kept trying to contact me, but I didn't let it continue further. I initially wanted it to be more until things went south, and then I cut it off.
Okay. So in this age gap relationship where you wanted there to be more. Mm-hmm. Why did you want there to be more?
Because he was really cool.
Was that because he had more experience and was more sophisticated and had more money and all that stuff? Yeah.
And he was really cool. He did
And
cool
you had
things.
agency to choose for that, and you wanted more out of it, right?
Right, but I was naive.
I don't understand, though. He sounds like he was hyper predatory. He's preying on a poor, helpless 21, 22-year-old girl. The experience gap was so wide, right? He was a super predator, right?
No, he wasn't predatory
he
at
wasn't.
all.
He wasn't predatory at all, right? So this is my whole point. So when you kind of bring it up and you frame it, oh, these guys, they can't get anybody in their own age bracket. This guy couldn't get anybody in his own age bracket, really?
Well, maybe he wanted to, but I guess he didn't have luck doing that.
Or he just found a younger chick he thought was more attractive, right?
I wanted to come in on the whole. So you made an argument about how men who are older, who date younger women, they do it. One of the reasons they do it is because they're incapable of getting women their own age. I have a bit of a counter to this. I actually think a man who's attractive enough at 35 to date a 19-year-old is probably he's so attractive that he's able to, from just being able to date a 19-year-old, that the women in his age range are probably more attracted to him than to men that are incapable of securing romantic or sexual interest from 19, 20, 21-year-old women. Because typically, for a guy who's in his 30s to date like a 20, 21-year-old, he has to be really attractive to pull that off. Most men who are 35, 40, they're not attractive enough to pull off dating a 21-year-old. So actually, this whole argument of they're incapable of securing relationships from women in their whole age range, therefore they go for younger, more attractive, more desirable women, I think kind of falls flat on its face.
I think it's very circumstantial to not generalize. And then also it's kind of this thing where the roles are reversed, right? Where when a girl is young, she kind of has a larger dating pool. And then as a man ages and gets more agency and money and maybe gets his priorities in check, the roles kind of reverse, where now his dating pool is kind of expands, and as women age, maybe they don't have the same dating pool as when they were young, and maybe that's another reason why men date younger.
But you just kind of contradicted yourself.
No, but it's because there's a gray area,
but
that
if
you
younger
can't
women
generalize.
have an expansive dating pool, and then when men get older, they have an expansive dating pool. If the younger women's expansive dating pool would exclude all 35, 40-year-old men because theirs are the whitest at that point, why wouldn't they go for the men their own age?
No, you bring up a really good point. I did contradict myself, but at the same time, I just want to end by saying that it's always circumstantial and it's hard to generalize. So I take back my generalization.
Isn't it easy to generalize?
It's not productive to generalize.
I think it is. I think it's productive to make general statements. Like, there's a bunch of palm trees outside. That's a pretty general statement. I didn't tell you how many, but you can agree that there's definitely a bunch of them out there, right?
Can I add something?
Hang on. Let us finish the exchange.
I think that it is even important to not generalize how important or how productive it can be to generalize. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't make a generalization about everything because context matters, circumstances matters.
You can't.
Personal experiences matter.
I agree with you in principle that
Right.
you can't generalize everything. But you can generalize a lot of things with a pretty good degree of accuracy. You live most of your life through generalization.
True, but when it comes to conversations about men and women, there's a lot lost in translation when there's
Well,
generalizations.
wait. Immediately you are generalizing because you say men and women. Both of those are just general statements, right? We're not having a conversation about a specific woman, a specific man, but men and women. So aren't you generalizing?